jumped into what I'm gonna be honest with you was probably the most fun I've had in a while. Was taking a deep dive here on the D back defensive back room. We're doing corners and safeties. This is one of the most deepest and highly touted defensive back, cornerback mainly in this. There's a couple corners that I do like. I'm sorry, a couple safeties that I do like, but the cornerback room is phenomenal this year, and I'm really excited for what this class could be.
100%.
And I am going to be quite pissed if our ranges are similar. Don't be looking over here, cheating ass.
I just wanted to see. I kind of gave you a little bit of a hint of where I was at earlier.
I expect us to have similar players, but the order I do kind of expect us to differ on here. There's some guys that I really like.
I'm sure our top 10 has to be very similar. Being you think alike of players. I mean, we talked before the show a little bit. This is probably one position that I think we differ on the way we see the game. But well, you're a defensive back. I'm sure when we talk offensive line, me and you are going to have different opinions on it.
No, you're probably right.
What it is.
You're probably right.
Like, you played the position, I played a different position. It is what it is. But we talked a little bit before the show. I have 2 safeties in my top 10.
I have 2 in mine as well.
So I think ours are probably the same. But that being said, we have a top 10 list here. Do you want to do the honors, or do you want me to do the honors? I did say my top 10, and we did say our top 10 was hard to find, but I think my number 10 guy.
I have a hard time narrowing it.
My number 10 guy could very, very easily go in the first round, which is absolutely insane.
So could mine.
Yeah. So
I'll let you start. We'll go 10-1 here.
10-1.
Start us off at number 10.
All right. So my number 10 is out of Penn State, Kalen King.
Okay.
Is he in your top 10?
He is not in my top 10.
He is not in your top 10?
He is not in my top 10.
Wow. Okay. I like Kalen King's game. He played very well. He played in a very good defense at Penn State. There were times where he didn't get the ball thrown to him very well or very much in the game. He's had very good games, but then he's also had very below average games. Like, there's been times where he's gotten burnt or he's missed coverages, things like that. I think there's definitely a lot of polishing that his game needs. But, I mean, like, his physicality, I mean, he's physical. Let me get his attribute. Pull up his.
For me, the reason he's not in my top 10 is this year's tape I didn't like.
I think
if this is based off of last year, he's in my top 10.
Yeah, and I think if he would have came out last year, probably
he hurt first round. He hurt himself this year, in my opinion.
He's 5'11". I mean, so he's not short. I mean, he'll be able to run with guys and everything. Like, he has good speed. He'll definitely be able to benefit from a good combine. He's a zone defender. So I think in the right system, he can be a starting corner in the league. But I think there's a lot better guys in this draft. But I mean, like I said, for Kalen King to be number 10,
he's probably in my top 12.
Yeah, top 12. Okay.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that I did consider. As I said, I didn't like the tape this year. There was too many times where he just got lost in coverage, got beat, or just wasn't as dominant. Last year he was probably 7, 8 in that range. You know, last year if that tape would have translated to this year.
I know this is kind of hard to judge him off of, but his Ohio State tape was bad.
He got lit up.
Bad.
Yeah,
really bad. Obviously that's one showing, but that was really bad.
But that's the kind of caliber of receivers you're going to have to protect and covering. Yeah. And
a couple notes here I have on him. He has to work on his press coverage, jamming and press coverage a little bit. He's gotten a lot of penalties. He's had some penalties thrown his way. Gets grabbing. He has a little bit of a delay to his game. So making sure he's on cue with the snap and everything and getting in there. Like, it looks like he's gotten a little bit of a delay and kind of let somebody get ahead of him. So he's kind of playing catch up and uses his speed to get catch up. So obviously, like, he's not. He doesn't have the height of a top tier corner. Like, he's 5'11", but he's still got decent size.
So I'm curious to see what his arm.
He has good. Yeah, he has good length. But I mean, obviously his height. So going against a taller receiver, he might struggle a little bit. But
curious to see when he runs too. Go.
Yeah, and another thing
the
too.
The combine's going to matter for him a big time.
Yeah.
To me, in my opinion.
I think a big thing with him too is he's going to be a project. He's going to have to learn the game a little bit. Like, at the NFL level. In college, you look at some of his tape, he gets a little distracted about what's going on behind the ball, behind the line of scrimmage.
His eyes do.
And his eyes are drifting. He loses his job, loses his assignment. But I think athletically, he's there. He's put on some good tape. Like, obviously, last year's tape was really good.
Awesome.
Like, so, I mean, I think he's a very good corner. He's going to need some work, obviously. I think he'll definitely be one to benefit going. So where he is right now, he's probably realistically a mid-second round pick, right? Probably in the 40s.
He's a day 2 pick.
40s, 50s in there.
I don't see him getting out of it.
I think he falls to a team like Detroit or somebody like that. Picking in the back end of the first round, back end of the second round. I think somebody will see his junior year tape and really, really like it. There was a couple. I did see some Senior Bowl tape against some of these guys. I saw one play he was burnt by Lad McConkey.
Lad McConkey was day 1. Lad McConkey was eating kids up.
Yeah. So I mean,
like if I could go back now based on that Lad McConkey tape, like
we need to put Lad
probably
McConkey in like the 2017 Patriots.
Yeah. Right. He reminds me a lot of Wes Welker, to be honest with you.
100%. But yeah, Kalen King's my 10. Obviously, I think he's got some work to do, but I think he's a solid 10. There could have been another guy that I could have squeezed in here. Probably it'll be your 10. But I'm curious to hear your 10 is.
My 10 is not a corner.
Your 10 is not a corner.
My 10 is a safety. My number 10 for me was Cameron Kitchens out of Miami. PFF graded, didn't grade all that great this year, 67.8. He played better last year. He was a PFF grade of 90 last year. So similar issues with him from, his 2022 tape is better than his 2021 tape. I'm sorry, I screwed that up.
Yeah.
His 22 is better than his 23.
Yeah.
69.4 in the rush, 65.1 in coverage, 6 foot, 205 pounds, had 59 tackles, 5 pass breakups, 5 picks. So for a safety, you love to see that. He's a ball hawking safety. He does have elite center field ability, in my opinion. He plays that center field role very well. Anticipates very well. So he reads what the receivers are doing and anticipates where the quarterback's going with the ball really well. He's a very physical player, and he's got a good build for, not elite build for a safety, but he's got a good build for a safety. For me, he will bite. The things he's got to work on here, he will bite on double moves. He does anticipate maybe too much at times. His pursuit angles aren't the best. He's got to get a little better at tracking the ball down. He will take bad angles and let plays go a little bit bigger. And because he will miss some tackles on occasion as well. The biggest thing I think he needs to do, and it's really the simplest thing for him, is every now and then when he's in his back pedal, he's very lazy with it. He's very lackadaisical with it. Which I think that's easily coached out of him. Like I said, I do like Cameron Kitchens here. He is my number 2 safety. Shocker. I did say I had two of my top 10 earlier. I do like him. I think he's a little bit of a project there. The 2022 tape is better than last year's. Same kind of similar scenario with Kalen King. But I have him kind of comped to a guy kind of in horror on this postseason here, in Darnell Savage. He reminds me a little bit of Darnell Savage there. The good Darnell Savage, not the getting burnt in the postseason Darnell Savage. But that's 10 for me. Cameron Kitchens, I like him. I really do. I think he's an NFL caliber safety from day one. He's a day one starter, and you can make a case that he may up in the back of the first round there. I definitely think he's top 50 pick.
Yeah.
I think he's probably early second round there. Somebody jumps up for him, and they're thrilled to get him.
Yeah, I like him. I have him a little bit higher than 10.
Okay.
So he's not my number 9 though. So
you're real.
I'll kind of get. Yeah, I like Cameron Kitchens' game. I'll just throw it out there. I have an 8. So
Okay.
yeah, I have an 8. I really like his game. I think he. There's 2 safeties I really like in this class, but obviously, I think he could very well be a first round pick. His athletic ability is very good. I saw 40 time. He's running around 4.45 in the 40 from his measurables from the Senior Bowl. And His shuttle's 4.31, which is a little slow. But 5'11", 206. I mean, he has the size and everything. He has that ball hawking nature, and I think he's physical in coverage, and he can do really well against the tight end. I think that's very important in your safety. And he has good coverage in the nickel too. And I think his anticipation, he has a quick trigger, reading some of these quarterbacks and everything too. So I think he's very good. I could see a lot of upside in this game. I think I'll have to get a little bit more physical, like in the run game and breaking down a little bit, like getting involved in the run game a little bit more. And I had a couple of notes here to pull them up for some of the weaknesses I pulled up. So we talked about taking aggressive angles in the run game, leading a couple missed tackles, and then just consistency on his tackling. I think that's probably the worst part of his game is his tackling. He's physical, but obviously just kind of over pursuing a little bit.
He tries to play too physical sometimes, which I think that's easily coachable.
Yeah, and he reminds me a lot of I don't know if you remember this guy or not. He reminds me a lot of T.J. Ward, like the physicality of T.J. Ward, but like has the ball hawking ability of T.J. Ward. And similar size and everything too. But T.J. Ward over his career, when he was in Cleveland, he was good. He was good in coverage and everything, but kind of had that over pursuing like aggressiveness in his run game. When he got to Denver, it was completely coached out of him. He started playing the run game. You see him up in the box, stacking the box, and playing very well. I do see Cameron Kitchens being able to play down the nickel a little bit.
I think he
get more action there.
He could be versatile.
Yeah,
not quite as versatile as like a Brian Branch type was last year, but I do think he has the ability. He can give me snaps there.
Yeah. So going into my number 9, I had Ennis Rakestraw from Missouri.
Okay.
I like his height. 6 foot, 188, so he's on the slimmer side. His forward
look that slim though.
No, I think he wears it. He has some muscle on him and everything. I think he'll have to obviously bulk up a little bit. Obviously not bulk up too much because you don't want to lose any of your speed that you have. His projected 40 is right around 4.48. So I mean, obviously he's going to be able to run with guys and everything.
I actually expect him to run a little fast. I have him at 4.45 is where I'm thinking he's going to be.
Yeah.
Not terrible.
Which isn't bad. I mean, he had an ACL injury in 21, so coming off that ACL injury, I mean, that obviously slowed him down a little bit. But kid out of Texas, like he's used to playing in Missouri. I mean, he's used to big football, so I mean, he'll be able to play a good level of football. But a couple notes I had here on him: his football IQ is pretty great. Probably one of the better football IQs on anybody in this class. His man skills are very, very good. I think his biggest weakness he has to work on is his ability in the zone coverage game. But his man skills and his press game that he plays is very good. His twitch and agility, which allows him for quick direction changes, things of that nature, and staying at the hip of the receivers. You see that a lot in a lot of his film that I was watching on him. But even though he is in a lighter frame and lighter build, he still shows willingness to engage with the receiver, and he gets down to run support and tackling. And I mean, his tackling. I don't know if you watched a lot of film on him.
I did.
He's a very good tackler.
For me, so yeah,
he's a very good tackler.
Yeah. He plays the run better than he can cover.
Yeah.
That's not saying he can't cover.
No, but yeah, he's a very good tackler. This guy, I don't know, man. Like this guy reminds me. Like I see, like a lot. I've watched a lot of these. Like I'm big on the Lions in the playoffs and everything. This guy has like his run ability is similar to like Brian Branch. Like is that your comp? Is that your comp? Okay.
I don't think he's quite as good as Brian Branch.
No.
I have low end Brian Branch.
But his
very similar.
His run game and his tackling.
Plays
like
run really well.
Brian Branch is really good in the run game.
Yeah.
Like that's what I see. Is this guy a corner forever?
I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, obviously he's gonna have to learn how to play zone.
Yeah, I think he's day one nickel.
Yeah.
I think he plays a very similar role to him. Like I said, I have him at 8, so I like him.
Yeah. I like him a lot. I mean, this guy, I mean, he's a very good player, and he's my 9th ranked player. So I mean, like there's this corner
You
class.
can make an argument he goes up first round.
Yeah, this corner class is crazy.
There's
There's going to be a lot of corners in the first, or a lot of defensive backs in the first.
the only thing that may hurt them is how good the class is.
Yeah.
So people may wait because they can get on in a second, third round pick, and get a hell of a player.
Yeah. And you said he's your 8.
He's my 8.
Okay.
So
So you can go ahead and give your 9 and 8 since I already gave my 8. My 8 was Cameron Kitchens, which was your.
Yeah, I'll give you my rack show and then I'll give you my 9.
Yeah.
So obviously PFF had him at an 80.7, 89 in coverage, 78.7 in the run game. So he plays the run really well. 35 tackles, 4 pass breakups. He only had 1 career pick, which I don't love.
He missed a little bit of football.
He did. He missed a little bit of football. But over his entire career, he only had 1 pick. I would like to see him turn the ball over a little bit more. He only allowed 1 touchdown this year and on a screen.
And I mean, how many times is he getting the ball from him?
True, but it's like the only touchdown he gave up this year was on a screen.
Yeah.
Missouri's defense was very good this year. He plays with an edge. He's got a little bit of an attitude with him, which obviously you need to have as a D-back. Because I'm sorry, if you don't think you're the baddest dude in the room as a D-back, you're going to get cooked. Yeah. Like there's so much of that game is about confidence and how you play with it. So he plays the run very well. He's got a very smooth back pedal. He's very good in his back pedal. I think he can play inside or outside. I think he projects more as an inside corner. He's got quick feet. It was a 3-year starter, so he's got the experience. Obviously, he's a little on the skinnier side as far as the goes. He's not a ball hawk by any means. I think he's going to be more of your concern. He's very conservative, so he doesn't take a whole lot of risk as far as that. He will grab if he gets beat, so that's something he's got to watch his hands. I don't think he plays press coverage very well. That's one of his biggest issues, and in breaking routes seems to get him a little bit as well. But I think that's partially is he relies on his inside defenders as well. He's a very conservative corner, but I do like him. I do think he is a really good 2. Or a nickel. I don't think he's your shutdown elite guy, but he's your guy who will play really well and complementary to somebody. To an elite guy off the side.
Right.
So I had a low-end Brian Branch on him is what I have on his comp. I wouldn't be terribly shocked to see him play safety at times in the league as well.
He screams safety to me. I think he'd be one of them guys that has a decent career as a corner and then eventually makes the switch. I could definitely see it.
Yeah, I'd say it, which that's pretty common for corners unless you're Pac-Man Joe.
Yeah.
He said, I ain't playing safety. But my 9, I have Kamari Lassiter at 9. Kamari Lassiter is 85.4 on PFF, 70.5 in the rush game. He's 87.2 in coverage, so he's a very good coverage guy. He's 6 foot, 180 pounds. Looks to play a little bigger than that. I think he may weigh in higher than that at the combine. He had 37 tackles, 8 pass breakups, had a half a sack. Again, only 1 career pick with this guy too. He's a very fluid athlete. I don't think I think his biggest knock on him is his athletic ability. I don't think he's an elite athlete by any means. He's a very fluid athlete. So he's got very fluid hips. He does play with what he has naturally given to him very well. He's a natural athlete as well. He played 4-sport athlete in high school, which the Seahawks and Pete Carroll and then used to come out and say all the time they love people who play multiple sports in high school and in college as well. He's very good on vertical routes. He's got decent ball skills. Got to turn it into some interceptions here at some point here. He's got a great work ethic though. So this guy is a guy who's going to come in and he's going to bust his ass to get better.
And I think that shows too. Like he was a very big special teams player.
Yes.
And like anybody, like you're a Patriots fan, who embraced special teams more than anybody in the world. Well, no, side 10 player wise. Matthew Slater.
Matthew Slater.
Like special teams is very important, and this guy showed a lot of effort on that side of the ball, and I mean that shows when you're obviously he's a work in progress, so I think that shows a little bit. But
yeah, I mean I think Lassiter can play from day one. The speed, the high end speed might be a question mark for me. I'm really curious to see what he runs. I think he's going to run more mid 4.5s. If he can come out and run sub 4.5, I think that does a lot for his stock. And he's got decent long speed, but he's not doesn't accelerate super quick. It takes him a little bit to get going.
Yeah.
So I question what his frame really is. I'm curious to see what he comes in as far as what he weighs. He looks bigger than 180 to me just watching him play.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking he's probably 190, 195 ish is where I'm thinking he's probably going to weigh in at, which I think would help him. I don't know how much the guy wants to hit though. He's not a big hitter. He will kind of run you to the sidelines and hope you run yourself out of bounds. Yeah. He doesn't seem like he's a willing hitter at times.
Yeah.
He's very conservative as well. So him and Rackshot play very reserved, conservative, in my opinion. The athlete there too. I don't think is an elite athlete as well. So he needs to test well at the combine to really kind of jump up some boards. But even if he doesn't, I think he's a mid-second round pick.
Yeah. Yeah. And so kind of while we're on him, I have him as my 7.
Okay.
So he was my next person on the board, but I like his hands. He has strong hands. He demonstrates good aggressive physicality at the line, and I think he brings some value to the run game. I think a little bit too. He's a good tackler.
When he wants to.
Yeah, when he wants to. Yeah.
I didn't say he couldn't tackle.
Definitely sees. You definitely see his effort might not be like when he's on the defense side of the ball.
In the run game.
In the run game, yeah. Like he doesn't have that physicality. Like that physicality's not there. Like the aggressiveness in the run game.
Yeah.
Kind of like a race girl there, but like obviously it's something you need to work on. I don't know his physical. Like he's physical in the pass game and like sometimes gets a little too aggressive. I mean, I think that might hurt him when he's going against number 1 receivers. I think he can kind of over pursue a little bit. He grabs a lot. He's definitely grabbed a lot. I think he has a very high ceiling, but I think his floor.
I think he's got a.
I think this guy could either be a really good starting corner or a special teams player. And I think there's really no in between.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to give you snaps on special teams as well. But yeah. I don't know if he projects himself as a 1 corner, but I do think he's a 2.
Yeah. And I think he'll go higher in the draft than a lot of other people or some people think because of where he played. I think the nature of football and the competition of football that he played, I think he's going to get a little bit more views because of that.
He's a very technical corner.
Yeah.
So he's not the elite athlete.
Yeah.
He's a student of the game, essentially.
Right. And I mean, he has to work on his ball skills a little bit. Like he's not a ball hawk. Like he has to work on his ball skills a little bit. And like he has a history of like you look at his tape, losing assignments, not transitioning back to the football, things like that. So I think he definitely has a lot to work on. I don't think he's a starter day 1. I think he comes in and helps you special teams day 1. But I think you get a good player. You obviously get a good player on special teams. But I think he has a very if you give him some work and give him a little bit of coaching, I think he'd be a really good perimeter guy. So, but I have him there at 7. I like him. I think he's a good player. Has to bulk up a little bit.
So I'm really curious when he comes in and what he actually weighs because he doesn't look 180. He looks bigger than that. But 7 for me, I have TJ Tampa. Yeah, PFF grades 75.8, 66 in the run defense, 78.3 in pass coverage. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. 44 tackles this year, had 2 picks, 7 pass breakups. Obviously, he has the height. He's 6'2". You'd love to see that. He runs well for being a bigger corner too. I think he's going to be mid 4.4s, 4.45, somewhere in that range. Got really good balance. He definitely doesn't lose himself in and out of breaks.
Yeah.
He locates the ball very, very well. For being a taller cornerback, a lot of times that their footwork will struggle. I don't see it with him. He's got very good footwork. I don't have any questions with his feet. He's a good athlete. He's got decent hands. He was a wide receiver commit coming out. I think he was a 4-star receiver coming out. He's got obviously elite size and length. He's got good hips. So for a taller corner, footwork and hips kind of tend to be what goes. He's got those checked off for me. I have no questions there. He didn't play press coverage very much, so he is more of an off-ball corner in my opinion. His pad level, he will play a little high at times. He looks to. Now this guy's kind of a little bit opposite of last year here, where this guy likes to hit. Now he when he tries to hit, he's trying to hit through you.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be a negative for him. He doesn't wrap up a lot, so they do got to coach that into him. And he is a gambler. He will take shots. But I mean, turnovers are massive in the NFL level. I really like TJ Tampa. I really think he can be a really, really good corner. I have him comped to Carlton Davis.
Like that. Yeah.
He's my son. I really like him.
So TJ Tampa was my one guy off the list.
Okay.
I was hoping I was between him and Kalen King. I like Kalen King's 2022 tape. And I think if Kalen King goes back to that, goes in the NFL, goes back to that, I think Kalen King has a higher upside. Obviously, I think TJ Tampa has the size, like the more ideal size that you're looking for. But I don't know. I think Kalen King. He was that guy. I think he had a little bit more upside for me.
I think Kalen's a better athlete. I think that's the difference for me. But I could be wrong on that. I don't mind Kalen King. I probably had him at 11 or 12, but if I would have put him in.
Yeah. So we're at
6. We are 6, sir.
So my 6 is my top safety in the class.
So is mine.
Yeah, Tyler Nubin.
Tyler Nubin is
Tyler Nubin. So I think I have a good idea of what our top. I think our top 5s have to be identical then. But yeah, so
I'm gonna be if our top 5 are the same, we're probably done doing this.
You gonna be mad?
I'm probably.
You want to change it up a little bit?
I'm gonna
see yours, and I'll change it up.
I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked. If we get the same top 5, I'll be absolutely fucking shocked.
I can tell you right now, we don't have the same number 1.
I would hope not.
I already know. I already know where you stand on that.
I
100% we don't have the same number 1. I put money on it that we do not have the same number 1. Okay. But here's the 6 here. So Tyler Nubin, he's 6'2". He has the ideal frame, the ideal size for the safety role. Was that?
I'll put money on you don't know who my number 1 is.
I know who your number 1 is.
There you go.
Yeah, 100% I know who your number 1 is. So a strong proportional frame. He's ideal for the safety role. He has a physical play style, doesn't shy from contact. He displays some explosiveness and closing speed, and it's crucial when he's for downhill run support and things like that. He has fluid movement, adaptability in the coverage. He has strong tracking skills. Sorry, I screwed up this typing that I had on here.
Yeah, mine's on 2 pages. It's
Yeah,
really
I literally I misspelled a word and I'm like, what the fuck does that say? But he's he has some very instinctual play in his game. He has a natural feel for the position. He's a true safety, I believe. Strong tackling, good use of his hands, capable of taking on blocks and delivering impactful hits. He has a swagger on the field. So there's obviously there's the swagger to his game, and he's capable of playing in the box when needed. Couple things I have on here for things he has to work on. His footwork can be a little choppy when he's playing, especially in the middle of the field. So I think he has to work on a little bit of the ball hawking skills. In the man coverage game, sorry, I screwed up another word. In the man coverage game, sometimes he relies on his physicality and kind of gets to grabbing, tugging, things of that nature. I haven't watched a whole lot of film on him because I really didn't think I needed to. I thought just watching a couple games of his film, he's the best safety in the class, in my opinion.
I do too.
A couple bad angles I've seen that he took, but I'll throw you my comp on him real quick. My comp that I had on him is actually I'm being a homer on this one. Might be a little high for him, but I think this is definitely where his ceiling is, where he can get to. Justin Simmons. I see a lot of Justin Simmons now excels in the ball hawking game. Justin Simmons is a ball hawk, but Justin Simmons tackles very well. But similar coming out of college. Justin Simmons was a 3rd-round pick coming out of Boston College. So I think some similar things to what Nubin has to work on is things that Justin Simmons had to work on coming out. Obviously, his speed's not elite. He has good size. He had to work on his footwork a little bit in the middle of the field. Justin Simmons wasn't a top safety in the league his first couple of years.
No.
He obviously worked into that. 3 years in the league. He's one of the best safeties in the league. I think he's probably a top 5 safety right now in the league, and I think Tyler Nubin can really get there. And I think just looking at their scouting reports, like if you go back and look at Justin Simmons' scouting report, very similar, very similar.
Yeah, it is.
So
I do like that comp for it, and I actually think I might take it better than mine. But obviously he was 89.2 on PFF, 70.2 in the run game, 90.1 in coverage this year. And I'll be honest, coming into the year, I had him as my 2. He jumped Cameron Kitchens as my top safety coming out this year, just because his take this year was last year Cameron Kitchens.
Yeah.
In my opinion. 6'2", 210, 53 tackles, had a sack, 4 fumble, had 5 picks, 4 pass breakups this year. So he can turn the ball over for you. He's got very powerful hands. He plays very strong with his hands. He's got great awareness. He tracks the ball really well. I think he's got really long arms too. I'm really, really curious to see what those actually come in at. They look like he's got very long arms. He's very versatile. He can play in box and in coverage. So I think he is your Swiss Army do it all type safety. Obviously he's got ideal safety size. Things I think he needs to work on. He does tackle well, but he doesn't wrap up as well, which seems to be kind of a reoccurring theme these days. People want the big blowy up hit and not just the safe tackle. He will be a little high in his back pedal at times, so he's got to be a little better at that. The physical speed, I think, is his biggest concern for me. I think he's going to run high 4 or 5. I think if he come out on 4.52, I have a lot less concerns. But I do really like him. His footwork, you did mention this too, his footwork can be choppy at times, but it's also on mine. I really like Tyler Newman. I think he's a day 1 starter in just about every single team in the league.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's a team that can't find a place for him to play day 1.
there's not a single team in the league that has 2 stud safeties. There's not.
No. I mean, there's a couple teams that have 2 that I like.
Yeah. 2 that you like, 1 that's really good, a couple teams that have 1 that's really good, but this guy.
I really like New England safeties.
Yeah. I mean, this guy's going to probably go in, if he's a first-round pick. You think he's a first-round pick?
I think he's back end of the first round.
Yeah.
If he doesn't go, he's top 40 for me.
If he goes back end of the first round, or back end of the first round, he's going to go to a playoff team. He will instantly help any team that was in the playoffs this year.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I think maybe, I don't even know who I would say with the exception of. Who has elite safeties that, this guy wouldn't be able to fit into.
I don't think there's any team that he does not play.
I think he's he's going to be best player available for a lot of picks.
Yeah.
I think he'll get passed up on a lot because people are going to be looking at these receivers, I think, in the back end of the first round. But
I mean, I think his biggest knock on him is safety value. Where it's people don't tend to evaluate appropriately, in my opinion. As far as that goes, so people will tend to go corner over safety. He is more of a true safety than a corner, although he can cover. I mean, this guy's going to loft tight ends up.
Yeah.
My component, I don't like my component, to be 100% honest with you, and I had a hard time kind of finding one I like better. He reminds me of Juan Thornhill, but he's better than Juan Thornhill.
Yeah.
He plays the game very similar to the Juan Thornhill, but I think he's better. I think he's day 1 better than Juan Thornhill. But that style of safety.
So when I was going through, I mean, obviously, so I remember the year that Justin Simmons was drafted. I liked Justin Simmons from the beginning. I was also out with a torn ACL that offseason, and I did really a whole lot of just sitting around and doing nothing. And I studied the draft religiously that year, and I really liked Justin Simmons coming out. And I remember watching Justin Simmons, and Tyler Newman reminded me so much of him coming out. I'm not saying Justin Simmons now.
No, yeah.
I'm talking the Justin Simmons coming out of Boston College was almost identical.
And I love that he played in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So he's not afraid to hold it.
No. And obviously you need that.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's not going to be a fair weather guy.
Easily, I think he's my best safety on the board. And I think coming up here, I think we have our top 5 here. Obviously, our top 5 is going to be the same, I believe. It's not going to be, maybe not the order.
I don't think we're in the same order.
Same 5 guys.
Yeah, we got
same 5 guys.
I would be shocked if we on the same 5.
I believe,
there's a long
before we get into this, I think all 5 of these guys are first-round picks. All 5.
I do too, but I think I'm starting to talk myself into one of them not being.
Is it your number 5? Okay. So my number 5, Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo.
No.
Not your number 5. Got it. Okay. So, where's he at for you? 4, 3, 2, 1. 1. Really?
Quinn Mitchell is my number one safety. Everyone on our corner.
Wow.
I was really high on him, and I'll be honest with you.
I did not know. I didn't. Okay,
I told you.
I was wrong. I
100%
100% thought you were going to say Cooper DeJean was your number 1.
Cooper DeJean is not my number 2 even, so you're way off.
Okay.
But with Quinn Mitchell for me, I fucking love this dude. I've loved his tape all year. I've watched all of his tape. My biggest concern with him was he doesn't play press coverage.
Yeah.
And this kid went out and dominates the Senior Bowl as a press corner and just said, "I will fuck you up all day."
Yeah.
I said, "All right, yep." No, I had him at 3 initially, and he won me. He took 2 spots.
I love his athleticism.
I love him.
I mean, he's 6 foot, so I mean he's a good size. Ran a 4.35. So I'm gonna love to see what he does in the combine. But obviously he's one of Feldman's freak list. He's number 46 on the freak list. His field vision's great. He's a great zone corner. I think he's pretty good in man coverage too. I mean, I really didn't see much issues there. His tenacity in the tackling, like receivers, not letting receivers get past him. His ball skills are elite, in my opinion. I did see his coverage in the Senior Bowl. His press coverage. I think that's something you need to work on really big. I really like that.
I don't.
Very
I'll be honest with you, I don't. And I had the same read on him coming into the Senior Bowl. He didn't play press coverage. It wasn't that he can't play press coverage. He just did. The defense wasn't designed for him to play press coverage.
Yeah.
When he came out at the Senior Bowl and was literally just pressing up everybody there, all right, I have no concern with this guy press coverage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and honestly, even if he isn't playing press coverage, he can run. He can run with anybody.
He can turn
this guy can run with anyone. His linear quickness and burst, that's probably his biggest strength in his game is his burst. But he's very versatile. Obviously playing in man, playing in zone. And I think this guy, if he plays when he's playing zone, he fucking excels. He can come in the league and probably be one of the best zone corners. He's very, very good in the zone. Watching his tape, I love his athleticism, but I just think I don't know. I'm high on him. Don't get me wrong, but I'm high on all 5 of these guys. I think all 5 of these guys are day 1 starters.
I do too. And so this is where I think it gets absolutely dynamic.
Yeah.
As far as that, do you want me to give you my rundown on him now, or do you want me to save it for 1?
Since we're on him. Might as well. Since we're on him, might as well.
All right, yeah. I'll give it to him. So I said he's my number 1 corner. He's at PFF. He's 91.5 overall, 76.1 in the run game, 91.6 in coverage. He's PFF's number 1 graded corner this year. 6 foot, 196 pounds. Had 41 tackles, 18 pass breakups this year. Only had the 1 pick this year. Had 5 last year though. So he didn't get thrown out a ton this year as far as having the opportunity to, because he locking everybody up. So he's already ran in the 4.3s. I honestly expect him to run low 4.3s at the combine. An absolute elite athlete. I think he's the best athletic corner in the draft, outside of maybe Cooper DeJean. We can make an argument that they're very similar as far as athletic wise goes. He's on Feldman's freak list. He bench pressed 225 21 times. He's clocked on field speed at 23.58 this year. The guy can fly. He attacks the ball. He's a very aggressive tackler. He reads and reacts at an elite level at this point. And so he can turn and run with the absolute best of them. He does gamble from time to time, so obviously he will give up a big play occasionally. He doesn't recover as well as I'd like to have seen him.
Yeah.
He's got great elite speed, but sometimes it didn't translate as far as in recovering there. And the compete level in him, he's an absolute dog. He's got that dog mentality that the Eagles like to say about. I have him comped to like a Travarius Ward.
Yeah.
But I think he's better than Travarius Ward from day 1.
I have him. So my combo on him, I have Trent McDuffie.
I like it.
Similar game. Now Trent McDuffie's a fucking All-Pro this year.
I would not be surprised if he's an All-Pro this year.
Yeah, I think this guy could. His ceiling is. I don't think he has one. I really don't. His athletic ability, I think you're going to see him take on the challenge of number one receivers, and he's not going to shy away from it.
He loves it.
Yeah.
He loves it.
I think that, like, with that mentality you're talking with him, I could definitely see this guy skyrocketing to the top of the corners list. You can see this guy in the defensive rookie of the year conversation.
Honestly,
I
can see him in the Pro Bowl, all pro.
Yeah. And with me having him at number 5, so obviously I think there's a couple guys in there that just have like smoother, like got the basics down a little bit better, I believe. Guys that maybe played. Obviously, there's 2 guys from Alabama that played in Alabama, so I mean they played a little bit more football, a little bit better football. This guy played at Toledo, so I mean, didn't have the greatest competition in the world, but
he did.
But I think that's kind of what scared me a little bit on him. Yeah, he's an athletic freak on tape. How's it going to translate? That's my only question mark. I think this guy could shock a lot of people. Like, I think this guy, I mean, you could see, I also saw like a Devin Witherspoon-ish comp on him.
Yeah. Not quite as tall as Witherspoon.
Obviously, Devin Witherspoon's a number 5 pick in the draft. Quinyon Mitchell's not going number 5 in the draft. He's probably around 20. I think it's a sweet spot. Because I think you're going to see guys picking some other guys here in the top 5 first, just because of
he is firmly in the QB1 race.
Yeah.
I think it's a 3-horse race for who it is at one as the number 1 corner this year. Yeah. So I do think he is in that running. So it's going to be kind of whoever.
I think my number 1 is going to be the guy that goes is the first pick. I think his game is just the most polished, and we'll get to that when I get to 1. But he's your number 1.
He's our number 1.
I did not see him being.
That's what I said. I guarantee you don't know who my number 1 is. I said I was super high on him all year, and then the Senior Bowl he won me over. Pretty much every concern I had about the kid, he went out at the Senior Bowl and said, "Look, I can do this. I just wasn't asked to do this."
Yeah.
So
I didn't have to do this, and I think when you see him, I think he's going to help himself in the combine. I really do.
He is going to blow.
He's going to run low to mid 4.3s, and he's going to be on top of people's radars, and I think he's going to fly up the board. Yeah, you might see him flying up the board closer.
I honestly think from the Senior Bowl on, you're seeing him start to fly up the boards. Yeah. I really like him, and I'm excited to see what that kid can do in the league. But for me, 5 was I had a hard time putting him here. I didn't do my 5.
Yeah.
I was in my 1. We got there early. My 5 was Kool-Aid McKinstry.
So that's my 4. That's my next one. Yeah.
Which coming into the year, I didn't think there was any chance Kool-Aid wasn't the one.
He definitely hurt himself this year. But
did he hurt it? He didn't play bad this year. He didn't get throw out as much this year.
No, I mean, but other people played well. I think his teammate played better than he did.
I do too. Obviously, no shocker here. I have Terry on order, clearly ranked higher. He's my 5.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid, he's 88.8 in the PFFF. I mean, PFF. Throw an extra F in there. He played the run really well this year. 90.5 in the run, 84.9 in coverage this year. He's 6'1", 195 pounds. 32 tackles, 7 pass breakups. Only had 2 career picks, which is shocking for somebody who played as a freshman at Alabama. Yeah. I think he's a better zone corner than he is a man cover corner. And part of that is because of the athlete. But I think he's the best press corner in this draft.
Yeah.
So if you like a press zone kind of corner, I think he's your guy. I think he has the highest floor, but maybe not the highest ceiling.
Yeah.
And just because of that is that he's not the elite athlete that some of these other cats are. But he plays with amazing poise. He's a communicator in Alabama's secondary, which says a lot. Alabama runs a pro style defense. Yeah. So if he's the guy you're using to communicate with, that's a lot for him. He's got a super effective jam. His hand placement on his jam coverage is great. He's got really good arm length. He hits like a safety. This guy hits like a freaking truck. He said he was very, very. His best tape I thought this year was against LSU.
Yeah,
and the best receiver he probably played all year.
Yeah,
I thought he played really well in that game. As well as he does give you some return aspects. He did return punts at Bama. and it goes a lot to say, he started as a true freshman.
Yeah.
And for Nick Saban, which doesn't happen very often. He's got an incredibly high football IQ. The guy is one of the smartest guys in the room when it comes to that.
I mean, he's been playing. He's played a lot.
He's played a lot of ball.
He played a lot of ball. He's a starter as a freshman.
Yeah, he played a lot of ball at a big time SEC school. Yeah. So it's impressive what he was able to put on there. Yeah. But I had a hard time getting him at 5, but the 4 above him I really like as well. Things he needs to work on for me, he can get a little grabby. He can get stacked on deep balls, so he's not the best on deep balls. A.D. Mitchell, mainly because of that deep ball ability, beat him up. It was probably his worst tape. Yeah, I do question his long speed, and obviously I don't think he's the elite athlete that some of these other cats are. Yeah. But I have him comped to like a Marshall Lattimore, that kind of style of corner.
So you hit the nail on the head, I think, for me with weakness. You pretty much went through everything I was going to say in the strengths. I think he's a very good. I think one thing you didn't say that I really like about his game, he's a very good communicator. He's a leader on the defense. No, did you say that? I didn't. I'm sorry. I was reading through mine. So I mean, he's a very good communicator. One thing part of his game too, he's a very, very good punt returner.
Yeah,
very good punt returner. But you hit the nail on the head with the weaknesses. I think he really struggles against the deep ball, so I think he's gonna have to work that with the deep ball a little bit. And he's not the athlete that everybody. And I think that's why he falls to 4 for me, because of the athleticism.
That's why I have him at 5.
Yeah. So I've been kind of going back and forth with his comparisons, and it's kind of. I mean, I have him ranked as the 4th best corner in this class, but my comparison to him is probably the best corner in the league. Just the style, like his style, his size, where he played football. So my comp to him is actually Pat Surtain.
Okay.
Of how Pat Surtain was coming out of college. Obviously, I think Pat Surtain's athleticism is a little bit more. I think he's a less athletic Pat Surtain. I mean, Pat Surtain isn't always the greatest against a deep ball. I mean, you get a faster receiver on him, like a Tyreek Hill, somebody like a Devontae Adams that's going to go up and get him. Surtain sticks with him, but he's not going to get. You're not going to get the most out of him in the deep game there. But very similar play. If you watch their film, like Kool-Aid's sophomore film versus like Pat Surtain's junior year film, very similar comparison. Obviously, Pat Surtain is a top 2 corner in the league. Him and Sauce Gardner obviously running the league right now, in my opinion. But
I think Pat is a little better in man coverage than what Kool-Aid is. I think Kool-Aid does fit better.
I mean, but if you look at it, I mean, if you watch like Broncos tape, the Broncos don't play fucking man at all.
True.
They never play man. I think if Pat Surtain would be 100% the best corner in the league if they would let him play fucking man. So I think if you're watching them zone for zone, I think they're very similar. But I do believe Pat Surtain's a better man cover. But if you watch them zone for zone, because I've watched a lot of Broncos football. Broncos play zone because the Broncos are not fast on defense.
Yeah.
So they play a lot of zone. You won't see Pat Surtain guarding the best receiver a lot because of the style of defense they play. But just in that kind of aspect of the game, that's where I see him. I also see a little bit of like kind of like Emmanuel Forbes too, Mississippi State. I see a little bit of that if you don't want to go up here for the comparison. But I'm not talking about the right now Patrick Surtain. Similar to what I did with Justin Simmons.
Yeah.
So, but Pat Surtain was very, very good coming out of college too.
Yeah, I really like Surtain coming out.
I can't believe that Denver got him. J.C. Horn went to the Panthers.
Yeah, J.C. Horn going ahead. I mean, I like J.C. Horn too. Yeah, Pat Surtain was very clearly the number 1 corner in that class.
It would be sad to see Pat Surtain on the Panthers.
It would. It'd be sad to see anybody on the Panthers, in all honesty.
All right, so where are we at? Your 4?
My 4, yeah. So my 4, I have Nate Wiggins out of Clemson.
I'm one behind. I guess I'm one step ahead of you then.
I
got him a 3.
Okay.
Yep, that's my 3.
And PFF had him at 81.6, 65.4 in the run game. Got a little better there. 82.9 in coverage, 6'2", 185 pounds. At 28 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 2 picks, 6 pass breakups this year. Gonna run probably sub 4.5. I think that's where he's going to be, maybe right around 4.5. Not the fastest cat on there. He does have really good plus ball skills. He's a 4-star wide receiver prospect as well coming into college football. He's very smooth, very explosive. he moves really well. He's got like a rare talent to me in the way he moves. He's got optimal height and length. He's a good press corner as well as he can handle. He's a pretty good off corner as well, so he can do both for you. He's very patient in coverage, and he's young. Like, he'll turn 21 in August, so he's still pretty young. He's still got a lot of room to grow. He's got very good awareness. His vision and zone coverage is very, very good. And this guy he's a gamer. His best game tape are in the biggest games of the year. Yeah. He plays his best football at the best times. So I really like Nate. I think he's a little bit on the slender side.
Definitely could bulk up.
Yeah,
I have that as a weakness here. He could definitely benefit for some muscle mass.
Yeah, he's got to get a little better in the run game. He's got to get a little bit better at tackling. He will get stuck on blocks. He won't. He doesn't shed blocks very well. And I do question his strength a little bit there. So I really like Nate, and I said he plays his best ball in the biggest moments.
Yeah.
And that says a lot for me. I think he's a better athlete than Kool-Aid is. I think he could do well with a good combine as well. He comes out there and bench presses well and runs decent. I think he's definitely potentially in the running for QB1, depending on what you like.
Yeah.
As far as corners, I think the QB1 race is really going to be what's your flavor. You can go to Baskin Robbins this year at cornerback, and which one of those 33 flavors you want?
Like, depending on the style you run,
yeah.
the style of defense you run, you can pick any one of these 5 guys.
Yes.
If you like an aggressive, like if Dan Campbell's picking and he's gonna pick a corner, who do you think Dan Campbell's gonna pick?
Dan probably gonna go cool.
Yeah, like that's probably or like
DeJean,
I can see him going more DeJean, kind of like that athleticism kind of style.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody like the Chiefs,
if they get Kool-Aid fits that fucking mindset.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. The aggressive, physicality.
Quentin Mitchell does too, I think.
If you're the Eagles, I could see the Eagles taking somebody like Quinyon Mitchell. Like, the speed.
That'd be scary.
I think it's pick your fucking poison. Like, all my Seattle fans out there that said that they want to they're calling for my head for picking a corner for them. This fucking guy fits your fucking mold.
Yeah. I don't want a corner. They're loaded. Reek Woolen is the best corner of all time. He tackles everybody. He tackles everybody.
You guys have a new defensive coordinator now. It's probably not very happy with Reek Woolen's play. Let's just put it that way.
He's pretty good in coverage. I like Reek Woolen in coverage.
Reek Woolen's never done anything to me. Seahawks fans made me not like him. But a couple notes I have here on Nate Wiggins. His reading and reacting is very good. I definitely like. He's definitely he's one of the smarter corners in this class, I believe, and he shows up in the big moments. He's good in off man, cover 3, and I put his fluid breath, his press bail technique I have here as well. Very good. He uses the sideline as another defender on the deep routes there. His quickness and agility is crazy. His agility, he's not fast, he's not downhill fast, but his agility is very good. And I tell you, I don't really see much weakness in his game. I really don't.
I don't.
Like, I think this guy has the potential to be like he's just going to get it done for you week in and week out. He's not going to complain. He's going to show up. He's going to live in the big moment. He's not the flashy guy in this class. I think if you're looking for somebody flashy in this class, you go like a Cooper DeJean, a Quinyon Mitchell, Kool-Aid, Darren Arnold. Any of those guys are flashier than this guy. This guy's not flashy at all, in my opinion. I think he shows up and just gets it done. So couple weaknesses I have noted here. Obviously, the muscle mass is number one, the biggest thing. I think he can show a little bit more commitment in the run game.
Yeah.
A little bit. His change of direction is not all the greatest thing in the world. Obviously, a couple things obviously nothing that's not coachable. Like he has things that are obviously his downhill speed is a little can't really coach that, but
I'm curious to see what he runs and
if he can get in the 4.4s, he's really going to help himself a lot, in my opinion. If he can get into the 4.4s, but this guy reminds me a lot of like Joey Porter Jr. coming out.
Okay,
style of play. That's that. I'll go with him as my comp. But coming out, I think that was I think it's like could be one of them guys like you say he's going in the first round, but depending on where everything falls in the draft, could fall in the early second.
Same with Porter.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously Porter I think is better than where he got drafted, and he showed it this year that Porter was very good, and he should have been a first round pick, but he wasn't. I think Wiggins could be that guy that slips, mainly due to his speed. I think I could definitely see him falling because of the speed, but I like him. I'd be happy if Denver drafted him. Obviously, I don't think they will because that's not really a need for them right now unless they trade Pat Surtain. But
They don't have a second round pick though.
we do not have a second round pick, and obviously, I think that's. I mean, you're not going to get a lot of these guys, but trading Pat Surtain, you might get one back. I think that would be the dumbest. Like getting off track a little bit, I would think that would be the dumbest fucking thing Denver can do.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I keep seeing that
I've seen it too.
trade Pat Surtain, number 12 and a first round pick.
I don't think it gets him. Two.
No.
But,
let the Bears pick Caleb Williams and call it a fucking day. Like, let Bo Nix do what you need him to do. I think that'd be fucking dumb. You do not trade the best player at his position.
yeah, he's your best player. I don't understand.
So that's my three. Obviously, I think we still need to hear your 3 and 2. So I guess I'm assuming your number 3 is Cooper DeJean because you did say he is not your 1 or 2.
Cooper DeJean is my number 3. Shocker. Yeah, I really like Cooper. I really, really do. PFF has him as a 77.4 overall grade, 78.6 in the run game, 76.8 in the pass game. Yeah, 6'1", 207. He had 41 tackles this year, 5 pass breakups, 2 picks. He had 5 picks last year, 8 pass breakups, had 3 touchdowns as well last year. This is a guy who's an absolute freak of athlete. He could run 4.3s as well.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 high-end corners who could run.
Feldman has him at 14.
Yes, that's my next one. He got him at 14. He understands the offensive side of the ball. He played quarterback in high school. He's the Iowa State long jump record holder at 23.7.
Good basketball player and athlete. Yeah,
he's a great athlete, multi-sport athlete. Obviously state record holder in track and field. He's got good size. He's got good mass. He's got really nice arm length. His gap closing speed is elite. He runs 4.3 and you see him. He plays 4.3. He's very good in zone coverage. He's pretty strong. He's got good strength. Obviously can always get stronger, but I don't have any question marks with his strength ability. He's very instinctive, and he's definitely a ball hawk. There's no question about that. The guy loves to go get the ball.
I think ball hawk and athlete have to be the 2 main terms right next to his name.
Yes. Yeah. And returner. I mean, he's a great returner, and he's going to give you that in the league too.
Yeah.
He can play inside and outside. He's a very physical corner. The things I think he needs to work on. He needs to sink a little bit that red on his out routes. He tends to struggle with them a little bit. He's twitchy, but he's not super twitchy. And does he play corner or safety? I think he might be a better safety. And I'm not saying he's a bad corner.
So I think he's a very good corner, but I think this guy could be an all-pro safety.
I do too. I think he can be all pro.
100%. His athletic ability and his ball skills, his tracking, his athleticism.
He's too fast.
I can definitely see him over pursuing a little bit if he played safety. But I think this guy,
you don't see him make 4.3 safety.
If this guy starts getting burnt or starts playing bad at corner, just because of what he is, he's going to get moved to safety. I'm not trying to sound racist or anything. He is a white corner. Okay, for any motherfuckers that didn't know if he was a white corner.
He's our number 1 starting white corner.
The white guy's leader right here. This guy embraces what the white guys are about, which isn't really a whole lot of anything.
Him and his teammate.
Yeah.
What is it with Iowa and white corners?
Yeah, Riley Moss, the Broncos' 5th-string receiver.
It's not bad.
Great special teams player. Special teams player.
I don't mind Riley Moss at all.
Yeah. I really like Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean's my number 2. So he's a very natural zone defender, which I think could benefit him if he plays safety. His back pedal is very good. His footwork, I think, is very fluid, very good. He has very disciplined technique. He has very good short area mobility. He can play the slot or the outside, really whatever he wants. I think you play him anywhere in the defensive backfield. He's going to do it well. I do have a couple of things. You said it with the hip sinking a little bit. I think you definitely see that. I want to see a little bit more fluidity in his hips. Kind of getting him in and out of his
Part of
motions
that,
a
he's a
little bit.
little ball
Yeah.
player, so that
He's a
poses
bigger
that.
guy, yeah.
Yeah, he's 207.
And then occasional wasted motion and press man could tug him a little bit off the line and everything. So, and I think at times he can channel his recovery speed a little bit out of transitions to close the gaps. His recovery speed isn't always there. I think he has to work on his balance a little bit too. But I think the kid's fucking a freak and could very easily fall him. Like top 10's hard in this draft because I think top 10 is you're going to see a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of offensive linemen.
I think if this was a class that didn't have the elite depth at corner,
Yeah.
I think you see the corners go higher.
Yeah. I think the what's going to hurt all these guys in the top 15 or a top 5 here that we just named, all deserving of going top 15.
Yeah,
100%. But I think with there being so many of them and so many good ones, they're definitely going to hurt. Like a guy like Nate Wiggins could very well fall to the second round, and he should because of the depth of this position.
Yeah.
I think somebody's going to fall in love with Cooper DeJean and take him a little bit earlier than expected. I still think my number one corner, obviously, I think we know who it is.
DeJean too.
I DeJean too, yeah. So my number one corner, I think, is going to be the first corner taken, no matter what, in my opinion. But I really like his game. But do you have anything else here on DeJean?
Yeah, I mean, who's your call for him?
Honestly, it was kind of hard. This one was really hard for me because I had the same question as you. Is he a corner forever? That's kind of I was kind of tossing a couple names around as far as like the athletic ability. I see similarities to your boy in New England, Gonzalez.
Okay. That's actually, I actually forgot to say that. That's who I had Nate Wiggins call.
Oh, okay.
Description of
Yeah, I mean, I see a little bit like the athleticism. I see it there, but like I can't think of anybody else that. What's that?
He's a better athlete than Gonzalez was in my
That's why I'm like I can't really think of who out there that plays corner is just a fucking elite athlete. We haven't seen very many elite athletes like DeJean come out and play corner. Most of those guys are typically linebackers or safeties, kind of like an Isaiah Simmons type player. Like guy's a freaking athlete. They just never you can never figure out. Nobody can figure out how to use them. I think that might struggle with DeJean. People might play him a little bit.
I don't have any concerns with DeJean. Wherever somebody's going, just put this guy on the field and he's going to be a monster. I think he's going to play corner just because that's a bigger positional value.
Yeah.
I see a lot of Richard Sherman's game in him, but he's more athletic than Richard Sherman, so it's kind of scary as far as that goes. Sherman's a Hall of Famer in my opinion, so. And honestly, I think Richard Sherman is a guy who probably should have moved to safety a little bit later in his career and could have extended that career. But I see they play very physical styles, and I really like Cooper DeJean, and I don't have any problem with somebody taking him in the top 15.
Yeah.
I think he could go top 10, depending on your preferences here and how you value the rest of the class. You said you're number 2. Right.
Yeah, he was my number 2. So it's my turn, right? Yeah, because you were your 3.
He was my 3.
Yeah.
So
my number 1 and your number 2 is the same person. So my number 1 is Terry Arnold.
Yeah.
So
he's my number 2.
Yeah. So obviously we know who your number 1 is. You picked Quentin Mitchell as your number 1 there. So my number 1 is Terry Arnold. I'm going to give you my reason why. I think Terry Arnold is the safest pick out of these 5 corners. Like we've talked about the guy.
I think Cooper DeJean is the safest pick.
Really?
I do.
I think Terry Arnold, as far as the game, the level of football he's played, and like he got the basics down. Like his basics are like he definitely got it down. I think he was coached very well on a good defense. His size is very good. I think he's a very good man cover guy. I think he can work a little bit in the zone. I think he his best part of his game is man coverage, in my opinion. His good frame, ideal height, solid build, good length, and has good speed. I mean, he's 6 foot. He's not going to light the world on fire in tangibles, or as far as his attributes here, like his speed. He has good size.
I still think he's going to run some.
So 4.4s.
Yeah, he's going to run
4.4s. Yeah,
4.4, mid 4.4s.
But some of his, when I'm talking about the basics, his footwork is very good. He shows very good patience. His technical abilities in the man coverage game is very good and has very good physicality. He has good hips, great explosion. His transition and his recovery, I think, are also very good and good part of his game. He's a consistent heavy hitter in the tackling game. I think he wraps well is one thing that we talked about earlier, that certain guys don't wrap well. I think Terry Arnold right now could be an elite safety.
Yeah, that's one of the things I have on here. He could play safety.
I think he's a very, very good corner, and I think he's the safest pick. And I think his IQ of the game and the way he sees the game kind of seems slow to him. So just as far as that stuff goes, I just think he has all the intangibles, and I think he does a little bit more things consistently than everybody else. That's why I really like him. If you were talking to me in the beginning of the season, Kool-Aid McKinstry fits this bill for me. Mm-hmm. But over the season, watching Alabama games, Terry Arnold just looked more comfortable, more consistent.
Which is saying something, because he's only played corner for 2 years.
Yeah.
So he was a safety commit. Yeah. He played safety in high school. He did play corner in high school.
Obviously, he's going to learn. He's still learning. He's a lot of and he has a couple things to learn. Especially, I think zone coverage is his biggest thing. He kind of has to work on a little bit.
Yeah, he's definitely better than man. So I'll give you mine on him. Yep. PFF has him as an 88.3, 90.5 in the run game. Plays the run really well. 84.9 in coverage. He has 63 tackles this year, a sack, 4 fumble, 5 picks, 12 pass breakups. So I expect him to run mid 4.4s. He can play anywhere, inside, outside, safety. Plays with great swagger. The dude's he loves to talk to shit. And I love a corner who loves to talk to shit. He's a great tackler.
You can't be a good corner without talking shit.
Exactly. I think he might play the run the best in the class. If he's not the best, he's 1 or 2 in that category. He's got very long arms. He's a very long arm corner, which are NFL love. They salivate over that. He's an explosive athlete. He committed to Alabama to play basketball and football. Obviously ended up not being able to juggle both, which is tough, especially playing at Alabama. He's got a very, very high football IQ. He's got great instincts. I do think he's better in man coverage than zone. He's very young as well. I think he turns 21 2 or 3 weeks before the draft. So he'll just be able to get a drink at the draft.
Yep.
I think this guy has the highest upside, which is saying something because I really like Quinn Mitchell too. Insane potential in this guy. He is a little raw. So they only played 2 corners for two years.
Yep.
Can get grabby every now and then for me.
Yeah, and I think that's part of his game, just learning how to play corner. That you have to work on a little bit.
Yeah. I haven't comped Devin Milishman.
Yeah.
I think he might be a little better than Milishman. But
and kind of going off that, I think he has potential to be better than Devin Witherspoon. Obviously, Devin Witherspoon was a good corner coming out last year, but the corner class wasn't extremely great last year. There were good corners, not as deep. So I think that.
I mean Gonzalez and
if Witherspoon's in this class, with this class of players here, Witherspoon does not go 5 last year.
No.
There's a more
this
demand.
Class comes out last year.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
the
this
draft
class
is
is so deep.
Yeah.
It's so deep.
You're not going to get guys going super high because of how deep. The deeper the class, you're going to see guys. Maybe I'm willing to take this position.
Yeah.
So my comp on Terry Arnold is Jalen Ramsey.
Okay.
I like his swagger. I like his man coverage ability. I think he's a Florida boy. He's from Florida. So obviously Jalen Ramsey coming out of Florida there out of college, but so I just see a lot of similarity in his game to just the way he plays, way he uses his hands.
They both play run really well too.
Yeah, and obviously there's no corner in the league that talks shit better than Jalen Ramsey.
That is true.
So I like him. I did see a lot of, like, when I was doing some homework and stuff on this guy, I did see a lot of similarities to Devin Witherspoon, which I really like that comp too. I just like I like this guy's tenacity a little bit. And he's a good tackler. Jalen Ramsey's a very good tackler too. I think this 1 year in the league, this guy's going to adjust very well, and I think he's going to be an elite corner. I really do. I could see him moving to safety later in his career. But I guess it all depends on what team he's on too. That's one thing you gotta watch. You gotta see what team the guy's on. So obviously, whatever team he's on, it could change where he goes.
Yeah. I mean, fit obviously matters a ton in the NFL. It's not always the best athlete or the best player that ends up going.
I mean, look at Jahmyr Gibbs last year. Who thought Jahmyr Gibbs was going to be the 12th pick?
He should have been. I will die. I
still should have. He fits well in that offense.
Yeah, he fits well in that offense, but he would have been there at 20.
Right.
That's my own dog. I like the player. I just did not like him.
But they didn't want it. But in the NFL, if you really like a guy, you fall in love with the guy. If you love your guy, make sure you get him. You make sure you get him.
I get that, but there was nobody else taking him ahead of him.
Well, somebody traded up to get him. You never know.
Nobody's coming up.
They must have had some type of.
I don't think anybody had two running backs in the first round.
Had information. How do you know?
12. I mean, I said it. My biggest knock on him was where they took him.
Yeah.
But I said I had a lot of fun with this. I really, really liked this class. I think this is the deepest class in the draft.
Yeah.
And the deepest cornerback class that honestly I can remember. I've been trying to figure out like what was the next. I don't know. Like this is the deepest class. I think.
Yeah.
I think you have honestly 12 to 15 corners or D-backs that will contribute early.
Yeah.
And there's some guys that in the later rounds, like the other Iowa.
I think all 10 of these guys are within day 2 picks.
I don't think there's a chance any of them get out of day 2.
Yeah. I think there's a chance. Probably when I was looking, 13 of them, 13 maybe 14, don't get out of day 2. Second, third round, I think you're going to go through 13.
I think the second, third round is going to be very, very.
You're going to see them flying off the board.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the second round, you're going to see them flying. Because I think there's going to be a point to where, and when there's in a deep class, like you see this, we've seen this in years past with deep receiver classes, deep line classes. They go on runs. Once one person picks them, they're like, okay, maybe we shouldn't wait because then somebody else is going to pick them. I think
as soon as it starts, it doesn't.
I think last year we went 4 straight receivers. Like when Rice and Flowers and all them guys were going, like it just happens. Like it starts to flow. So I think once somebody picks them, it's going to break the ice, and then you're going to start seeing them fly off the board.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's actually probably a couple guys that we didn't talk about that will go in there. I do like the other Iowa corner as well. He's not going to be a day 2 pick, but I do like him potentially. Day 3 there, middle of day 3. Sebastian Casher, I like him. I think he can play. Iowa's been pretty good.
I like the safety from SC, Kalen Bullock.
Yeah,
I like him as well.
He'll be a day 2 pick.
Yeah, day 2 pick. Your number 10 that was not on my list, TJ Tampa. I really like him as well.
He was 7.
7. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, that was who I was going with.
Yeah, Kalen King will go day 2 as well. There's somebody else I'm forgetting that I'm trying to remember who it was that I think is going day 2.
Josh Newton from TCU.
Josh Newton. I don't know if he goes day 2, but I do like Josh Newton.
DJ James from Auburn. I like a lot.
Yeah, I think he could play.
Bullard, safety from Georgia. Carson from Wake Forest. All guys there. I really like, I don't know if I can pronounce this guy's name correctly, Sandstro from Michigan. I like him as well. But I mean, hell, going.
Yeah, you can get guys on day 3 in this class, in my opinion, that are going to contribute fairly early, in my opinion.
Are there seriously 2 guys from Auburn named DJ James? You notice that?
I did not.
Just going through the list here, like there's 2 guys from Auburn. They're 2 completely different people named DJ James. It's weird. But the one DJ James, who's ranked number 23, is wearing an Oregon polo. So, probably transfer from there. Yeah, 2 DJ James. One's 5'11", 180, and the other one is 6'1", 164. Yeah.
Raheem Prickett is another guy I don't mind. Out of Auburn. I think he probably, I don't know if he goes to day 2, but maybe early day 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I said this is one of the deepest classes out there that I can remember. I really like this class. The kid out of the other Missouri.
Chris Abrams.
Yeah, I like him as well. He could be a day 2 pick. A lot of underclassmen too, so not a whole lot of.
I really like the kid.
upperclassmen.
I really like the kid from Rutgers too, Max Melton.
I
watch a lot of film on him. I like him.
I think he's going to do well at the combine. I think
5'11", could probably run sub 4.5.
Yeah, I think he have a good combine day. I'm really excited to see these guys at the combine. I think it's going to be one of the best must watch games.
Another one that's kind of off my list. I mean, I probably have him around 15, but 6'3", he's probably going to run sub 4.5 as well. Kyrie Jackson from Oregon.
Yeah,
6'3". I mean, he has the size and he has good speed. Obviously, there's some work he needs in his game a little bit. His physicality isn't the greatest for a guy his size, but he's going to be able to run with anybody and has the size to break up anything. So I think he'll be a steal for somebody on day 2. You'll probably see him in the 3rd round, but I think he'll be a steal.
Yeah, the size for that corner, it's tough to pass them out. It's one thing you can't coach is size for sure.
Yeah. So, but I guess that'll wrap up our defensive backs. I guess we're doing offensive linemen next, right?
We doing tackles. We're gonna do interior next week.
Let's do tackles. Let's do tackles. We did the ends already, so let's do tackles, and then we'll get into then following that, we'll get an interior defense, interior offense. I think the tackle class is another one that's has some big names on there. I'm gonna do some deep dive in here in some of the other ones, but I really think there's.
Yeah, I've looked at some of the bigger guys. Obviously, I thought Tyler Guyton at the Senior Bowl this week had a really good week for him. So
I think there's 8 tackles. And I know we just talked about this with the corners. There could very well be 8 tackles in the first round.
Yeah, I have a hard time with some of these guys. I got to watch a little more film with some of the guys a little farther down the board.
And
I think I have a lot of them potentially moving inside.
Yeah, if we're just kind of looking that kid from Arizona, Jordan Morgan, 6'4", 312, screams guard to me.
Yeah,
screams guard. The kid from Washington, Fatanu from Washington, screams guard to me. 6'4", 317.
Grant Barton, I think, might move
inside.
I
think Guyton's a true offensive tackle. I think he'll be a very good offensive tackle. Marius Mims is an offensive tackle. I really like J.C. Latham, but I would like him a lot more guard. I really think J.C. Latham, I think, would be I can see J.C. Latham going to the Cowboys and bumping inside and being a guard like the Cowboys like to do. The Cowboys like to draft left tackles and make them guards, and they become elite.
Yeah.
I can see J.C. Latham fitting that, but he's 6'6", 360. So he's a big fucking boy. So you don't see a lot of guards that big.
No, you don't. But, all right, we'll get into that next week. We appreciate it, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe.
Go Niners.
Talk some shit in the comments. Obviously we got the big game Super Bowl this week here. So let us know who you got. We appreciate it. Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Yeah.